The discounts you can get on the Grenadier are insane right now. It makes this the best deal in the off-road segment currently for everything that it offers. I'll include a link to the Warner Ineos' website in the description down below. That's where you can look at individual models and see the discounts that they have applied. If you have any questions, just call in and ask for Corey. Let's get right into the review. Powering this is BMW's B58. It's a turbo 3-liter inline-6. It goes through an 8-speed. Now they've detuned it in the Grenadier for long-term reliability. It puts out 282 horsepower and then 331 pound-feet of torque. There are several BMWs that have this powertrain, X5 and X7s, that have over 300,000 miles, so this powertrain is very reliable. I'm trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'd really appreciate it if you'd help out with that. This Grenadier is a Trial Master with some extra accessories like the checker plates there. And then you can see from the factory, all the Grenadiers get an upgraded bumper. There's also skid plate protection underneath, and you've got the off-road lights there in the center. Trial Master really gives the Grenadier that kind of old school off-roader appearance, especially with the checker plates and the raised air intake. Now this Trial Master actually has the fancier 18-inch wheels. You can get this with 17s, and you can easily fit 33s with no lift. This one is going to have the stock tires, which are 255 by 70 by 18. The Grenadier also has power up top from the factory with the Trial Master. We've got attachment points on the doors and rock rails. The theme of old school off-roader continues when you look at the side profile. Really cool look, especially with the kind of narrow body and then the kind of not super beefy, but the fender flares do stick out a little bit. And if that wasn't old school enough for you, the key fob is very simplistic. It's got a nice weighted feel, but it's got a flip out key with it. And this leads us inside. So we've got a double door here in the back, which is very useful. This one's got the little table from the factory. Because of the boxy design, you've got tons of storage space in the rear. This is better than a Wrangler, better than a Bronco when it comes to storage. There's a ladder on the back from the factory. We also have extra storage in the spare tire area, which is kind of cool. More recovery points out back, and then you've got an upgraded bumper in the rear. Again, that's all stock with the Grenadier. The exterior of this thing looks absolutely fantastic, but it's also, again, functional, providing more space inside, and let's check that out. These door handles will never get old. So you've got materials that are supposed to be more durable over the long run, and this one's got the seats that have kind of like the, I guess, vinyl with the cloth inserts. But anyways, not crazy amount of legroom, but similar to a Bronco and a Wrangler. You get vents here in the back, USB ports, you get an outlet, but the big thing is you've got tons of headroom with the boxy design. And just listen to the sound when you close the door, so solid. Boxy mirrors too, and then the front door panel has the same cool rugged trim as the back. The Grenadier has significantly more payload compared to a Bronco or a Wrangler. You can see this one's got over 1,400 pounds of payload. And then the front seats are manual with the adjustment, but again, they've got those cloth inserts. And yeah, it's very old school in the sense of stick the key in the ignition and boom. Very nice trim on the steering wheel. Of course, we're always gonna have to do the toot function. It's just such a fun feature. But yeah, it does have a recirculating ball rack, which does make this drive a little bit different compared to a lot of other modern cars. This is just a warning cluster. It lets us know that our tire pressure right now is a little bit too high apparently with one of the tires, but it means that you've got unobstructed views over the dash. This is fantastic. People that complain about this haven't driven one of these. Now, very simplistic backup camera, not crazy good resolution. Again, they're kind of keeping things more old school with this. But yeah, on the left-hand side, you've got the gauge cluster, and I lived with one of these for a year, never was a problem for me. And then you get the infotainment system right next to it. It does take a second for some of the pages to load up, but it responds well to your touch, and it's got a lot of nice features like all of the different off-road things, like these statistics, which I like, where it shows you where you've been and, you know, the elevation change and all that. It's just kind of fun. We also have a compass below that, and then we've got a bunch of physical controls below that area. This one doesn't have heated seats, but you can get heated seats in it. And then, yes, single zone climate and just a kind of nice actuation on everything. Now, having that BMW engine, of course, we got the BMW shifter. Now, this is for the drive line. It is a full-time four-wheel drive system. You can have the center diff locked in four-wheel drive high or low, or you can have it unlocked. So they give you the option, and that's why it's got a square pattern. There's also a physical control for the infotainment system. It's kind of nice with a synthetic trim. Got some USB ports inside. Nice trim on the grab handle. Yes, it's got a real grab handle, another one up above. This one has these Safari windows, which is one of the most unique feels in a modern car. I absolutely love it. And then a bunch of auxiliary switches come with the Trial Master. This also has an off-road mode as well as diff locks for the front and the rear. It also has hill descent control and your ESC for, well, to turn it off if you want. Discount on the Grenadiers is going to vary, so that's why I said check out Warner's website. But here's kind of like a basic look. This one has over $11,000 in discount because it was a demo car, so it has over 5,000 miles. But if you're looking at a 24 that's brand new, many of them have $10,000 in discount. So if you get one of the baselines that they still have on the lot here, which is going to be about a $75,000 sticker, you do the $10,000 discount, you're looking at mid-60s for a vehicle that is basically a G-Wagon with a turbo inline 6. Let's take this out and sum things up. Well, let's set off in Mr. Discount, which is, like I said, absolutely, I gotta pull this forward a little bit, fantastic. I think that people think that I don't like the Grenadier for some reason because I sold mine for that Wrangler that I'm doing a test on. It had nothing to do with liking or disliking the vehicle. I absolutely loved the vehicle. It had everything to do with just the YouTube thing and doing a new car for the channel. If I wanted to just keep doing what I was doing, off-roading, and not have to worry about reliability, I would have kept the Grenadier. Because again, this engine is known to now be able to go over 300,000 miles, no problem with, as long as you do the regular maintenance. And then the chassis itself, again, this is made by Magna Steyr, just like the G-Wagon. So you're looking at a chassis that can also handle hundreds of thousands of miles. So altogether, this is a very durable, reliable platform. Now, one thing about the powertrain with this is it feels like it's enough power, but once, you know, like someone like myself, once you've owned like Bronco Raptor and Wrangler 392, this does feel a little bit underwhelming in a way. But if you just drive this in isolation, if you just drive it every single day, you don't drive anything else, you'll never get it, you won't get annoyed. It feels like more than enough power. And the thing about this off-road, which is nice, is you can use all 8 gears off-road. And so it feels like it's got plenty of power off-road too, because you're in 4-wheel drive low the whole time. Whereas like my Wrangler, for example, I am only in 4-wheel drive low if I'm rock crawling with that. If I'm just driving down a trail, I'm in 4-wheel drive high, so I'm constantly switching between the two. Now it's got a V8, so it's got plenty of power, obviously, in 4-wheel drive high, but you know, I'm kind of sitting there, whereas this, you just pop it in 4-wheel drive low, and you're probably not going to go to 4-wheel drive low until you're back on the street again, which I think is really cool. It's, in my opinion, it makes the off-road experience way more seamless. Like something that I remember that I absolutely loved every single time I took my Grenadier off-road was I'd pop it into 4-wheel drive low, and then when I get out of the car, right, you just leave it in 4-wheel drive low, and then you get back in the car, and all I had to do was just pop it back into off-road mode. Just press that a couple times. Whereas in the Jeep, it's like, again, constantly switching in between, and then maybe you get out, turn off the car, come back to it, and then, okay, wait, am I gonna do high or low? It's not that bad, right? Because Jeep has an on-the-fly shifter. It's pretty easy to use, but this is just a much more user-friendly, seamless experience. And then also the off-road mode turns off stuff like the parking sensors, and it turns off the heated seats too, so that you, or no, that's a waiting mode. Sorry, the waiting mode turns off the heated seats so you don't like fry the electronics. So there's just so much that's been built into this to make it so that it's great for off-roading. And again, you have the engine reliability. And then it's, like I said, daily driving, these things are fuel efficient. I was able to average about 17 miles per gallon, 18 miles per gallon, which for a vehicle that weighs 6,400 pounds, this is a heavy duty off-roader. You gotta remember that. This is not like a Wrangler. This is not like a Bronco. Broncos and Wranglers are light duty off-roaders. This is a heavy duty off-roader. That's pretty efficient. And the ride quality for daily driving is good. The seat comfort's good. Like I just drove my Wrangler here, and I can tell you this is, it's more comfortable than my Wrangler. The Wranglers, I've got pretty crazy suspension on that, so the suspension on that's great, but in terms of the seat comfort and everything, these seats are more comfortable. So in conclusion, there are huge deals on the Grenadier, and from my understanding, they updated the price in the 25s, and then they're also have already released pricing on the 26s. So again, just ask the dealership if you have more questions on that kind of stuff. But it seems like they're keeping the pricing, again, big discounts on the old ones, and then very reasonable pricing on the new ones if you want to special order something. And I just, out of the box, from the factory, I don't think that you can beat the Grenadier when it comes to what this is offering value-wise. And I think that the problem is people look at Bronco and Wrangler and they go, oh, bigger tires. And so they think that it's like a better value, and it's like, well, you're getting bigger tires, but you're getting a light duty vehicle. You're getting construction. I mean, just seriously, I own a Wrangler. Go and knock on the door panel on a Wrangler, and then go and knock on the door panel on a Grenadier. This thing is so much more solid. This thing's a tank. That thing's great. I love it. Absolutely love it. It's not on the same level. It really is not. As much as I love my Wrangler, it's just not, it's not a heavy duty, you know, off-roader. So if you're going to, if you're the type of, here's the people that should buy the Grenadier. If you're someone who off-roads all the time, overlanding, this from the factory is the best overlanding car. Everything else you have to spend, like I had to spend, like on my Wrangler to get it set up for overlanding, for what this basically has, mostly from the factory. I mean, I had to spend, what, the parts were $12,000 plus labor to install them. So yeah, it's just a different world. And everything else doesn't have, this is already pre-wired, like this has everything. I cannot park for the life of me. This is already set up, and the steering, you guys could see, you get used to it. So all the complaints that people have about this car are null and void. You get used to everything. It drives really well, and the value proposition's great. So if you are into overlanding, this is the car to get. If you are the person that, you know, is still driving around like a 20-year-old off-road SUV, like I see people in, you know, older Land Cruisers and older Nissan Xteras and older Land Rovers and stuff, this is the car to get. This is another car that you can buy and you can drive for the next 10 to 20 years plus, and it'll be super reliable, right? You'll have to keep up and maintain it just like any other car, but this is the car to get if you're even if you're not into off-roading, if you just want a durable, reliable SUV, this is the one. This is the one.